Thank you so much, Girish. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this next session, a very exciting session. Our topic today is about the impact of technology on energy. The world is hungry for energy. We see it all around us in the night sky, the sprawling cities. We see the humming factories that help to drive our economies. We see it through the billions of people who are connected every single day by technology. And our energy needs are vast, and they're growing. So this hunger, it needs to be satisfied. How? Responsibly and sustainably, and with a clear vision for a future. The energy transition is here, and artificial intelligence is one of the driving forces behind accelerating the pace of innovation in ways that were unimaginable for us just a few years ago. The potential to reshape the energy industry has never been greater. But as you know, with all of these possibilities, there comes challenges. How do we navigate this complex environment? How do we ensure that as we harness the power of AI, that we do it not just to transform our operations, but to ensure a future that's both sustainable and prosperous? Fortunately, we're not alone on this journey. Today, we're privileged to be joined by leaders from 3 trailblazing companies, Cosmo, Freyr, and Celanese. These companies are not only embracing the change, they're driving it. They're leveraging the power of generative AI to optimize their operations, to unlock new efficiencies, and to steer us towards a cleaner and more efficient energy future. So without further ado, let me introduce our panelists. First up is Dr. Rzonca. She's from Cosmos Energy. She spent most of her career in the financial industry in the US and in Japan. And she joined Cosmos 3 years ago as Chief Digital Officer. She spearheads change management and digital business transformation, focusing on building autonomous business models through data operations.
1986年の誕生以来、私たちコスモエネルギーグループは生き生きとした暮らしを守り、支える石油事業をはじめ、地域の人々や社会と調和し、ずっとこの地球で暮らすための環境活動など、あなたにとってもっと心地よく、あなたらしい毎日を叶えるために進化を続けてきました。これからも私たちの挑戦は続きます。あなたの心に寄り添いながら、心も満タンにコスモ石油。
Hi, my name is Noriko from Cosmo Energy Holdings. As you saw, Cosmo Energy Group is providing oil and the new energy in Japan. And then great things, brand awareness. And with a great our sound logo, we have almost, brand awareness is almost 96% in Japan. And then we are also well known as a game changer and then driving energy into the new transition. Thank you.
Next, please welcome William Dennett. William has been the Chief Digital Officer at Freyr Battery for 5 years. He's responsible for building, managing, and leveraging the company's data assets to drive growth, innovation, and competitive advantage. He oversees the development and implementation of data strategies, ensures data quality, and integrity, and promotes data-driven decision-making across the organization. William?
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is William. I am the Chief Digital Officer at Freyr Battery. We are a young company whose goal is to be a catalyst for the energy transformation. We listed on the New York Stock Exchange in 2021 and have since built two main assets. One, a pilot facility, 100 megawatt hour pilot facility in the north of Norway, based on semi-solid battery technology, and another gigafactory building also in the north of Norway. Our mission is not just focused on cell production, but is throughout the full value chain, from raw materials, components, manufacturing cells, assembling them into modules, deploying them, and using them in the field or helping our customers use them in the field. And to that end, our digital strategies have to support the acquisition, understanding, and use of data from mines to deployed battery assets, whatever they may be. And we have built those assets over the last 3 or 4 years in parallel with our physical factories. Very nice to be here.
Thank you, William. And last but not least, please welcome Brenda Stout from Celanese. Brenda has over 30 years of experience in oil refining and chemicals industry, and joined Celanese 4 years ago as the Vice President of Manufacturing for their acetyls business. Brenda manages a global portfolio of manufacturing sites and also leads the digital manufacturing transformation team for Celanese. Welcome, Brenda.
Thanks, Laxmi. Good morning. So as Laxmi said, I'm here representing Celanese. If you don't know Celanese, we are a chemicals and specialty materials manufacturer, and we operate over 50 sites globally. I would venture to say that most of you in this room, if not all of you, use Celanese building blocks in some way in your lives, in your daily life. We're in everything from construction materials, paints and coatings, to automotive, pharma applications, and medical applications worldwide. So we're on a digital transformation journey, I would say at scale and at pace. I'm not even sure I would use the word pace to describe what we've been on in the last couple of years, but really excited to be here this morning to talk to you about that.
All right, let's get things kicked off. So listen, all three of you guys represent 3 different industries, yet you're all leveraging the same technology to do things. So what would be great is maybe to start to hear from you some examples of what you're actually doing with Gen AI in each of your companies. Maybe I can ask you, Brenda, to...
Sure. When we started out on this journey that we're on, one of the things we had to be able to do was start to operate our facilities, we said, by exception. So what does that look like for us? We had to stop spending so much time searching for meaning in our data. So our experts and our engineers would spend hours, sometimes weeks, troubleshooting our operations, really to just be behind on trying to catch up to what was going on in the facilities. So now we're able to come into morning meetings, come into weekly meetings, daily discussions with data at our fingertips. And not only data at our fingertips, it's pointing out to us the anomalies, and it's actually suggesting the first places to look to solve those problems. So it has changed the conversation. It's changed the way we operate on a daily basis.
So instead of reactive, you're able to be proactive. Move towards this. That's great. What about you, William, and Freyr?
Well, we, being a young company, we had the opportunity to try to embed AI, machine learning, so advanced digital techniques from the word go. The place we've probably come furthest is in R&D, looking at how to design and build new cells and do something to try to reduce the time to market that a typical new battery cell has at the moment, somewhere between 18 to 24 months. So we've built physics models which simulate our cells and simulate how those cells perform once they're deployed and do so in a literal fraction of the time that we can do in the lab. The alternative is build them in the lab, run tests on them, and come back and look at the results. So that's where we've come the furthest. It's a combination of a physics model, inference engines, material simulation, and that's also where we see probably the biggest immediate impact on not just our industry, but industry in general, is finding better products, finding them quickly, and getting through the regulatory and certification process fast.
Shortening your time. I guess in both of your examples, it's really important that the data is correct. And Noriko, maybe I can ask you about this first rule of AI, which is garbage in, garbage out, right? Tell me how you guys handle that in Cosmo. How do you know that what you have is good?
I put myself as my career long time as a data person. And when AI came out, then I was, oh my gosh, I got shocked. But, data is so fundamental and so important. Like everyone knows in here, it's just data quality is all the matter. But once it comes to the entire company level of the data set, it's so difficult to keeping a good quality. So as a Cosmo, of course, we do great project. And then with Cognite, with AI, but the back end, what we are doing is we are working every day for the data governance. Data governance policy, we set it up. We are working every single day, little by little. It's just like the most important things is just working with the IT department and then DX department, working closely with the business department. Because someone needs to lead it. But, point is who owns the data? Everyone in operation. Each department owns the data. But who use it? And who going to keep that everything in a clean, in a governed, data? We just need to work as an entire team together. And then, data governance policy is just really hard to follow, but, that's the way it is. And then if you don't have a clean data and organized, you can't orchestrate all together. Once you start using AI, each detail really important. So it's just like, I feel like a word of the data ops. I thought that's really cool. I really like it. Because data ops, 10, 20 years ago, I used to do the data analytics. Oh my gosh, you can just do it in 1 second. But, data is really live and in a system, with AI. And then, you can just avoid any fragmental analytics or a data missing. Yeah, okay. But, data is in the business place and I love it. So, when you are talking about it, when you go back to your office, just please look back to the data ops and then the data quality, data governance, and that area is really crucial for our business success. That's I believe.
Thank you. So it sounds like AI is making it easier, but the data is really hard.
Yes.
What about you guys? What do you expect?
I was going to add to that, Laxmi, though. One of the things I think we struggled with, I know I struggled with in our journey, was when is the data good enough? Mm-hmm. Because I found myself in previous situations where we got into data paralysis. We got into a situation where we thought we had to work for a long time to make our data good enough to go on this journey. Mm-hmm. And I think now we've changed our maybe thinking about that to say, when is it good enough? And when can we start to deploy the tools that we have and start to get the users to help us make the data better and help it become an iterative process that it gets better over time, only with the power of everyone helping us. I agree with Noriko about having a data strategy and a data governance, but how do you help the process become iterative versus need it to be perfect in the beginning?
Sure. And of course, you're in a much newer industry. Maybe you're not strapped with as much legacy stuff. How is it with you guys?
Yeah, but it's surprisingly easy to acquire technical debt and data debt. Right. So just because we're new doesn't mean we don't have these struggles. I think getting the data, we've got very modern assets. We've got a reasonably modern value chain. Getting it's fairly easy. Making sense of it not so easy. So that process of going from a volume of data that's good enough that describes whatever part of the manufacturing process or whatever part of the value chain you're looking at, to the point where it's understandable and giving it that semantic value. That's probably where we've put the most human resource effort in and got the most value out. So even though we've been modern, we've got very modern data models, we still need, fortunately, humans to look at the data, give it the semantic value, and then sign off on the quality. And there's a couple more points on data. One is the volume. So you don't need as much as you think you need. So you hear about these models being trained on gigavolumes of data. You can get surprisingly good results from surprisingly small quantities of data. I would say more important than volume is timeliness. It has a shelf life. Some of it has a long shelf life. So investigating what's going on in the ocean, probably data from 10, 20 years ago is useful. In our factory, it has a shelf life of seconds, sometimes milliseconds. So you need to understand the timeliness. Don't lock it away. Liberate it, give it semantic value, and share and collaborate, because otherwise you'll just be sitting there with a load of data that's no use to you and it has gone out of date.
I feel like this is a good time to transition from the technical side to the people side, because it sounds like to ensure all of this, you need to have this understanding. So with these technologies, how are you guys adapting in your company's, let's say, culture, people, skills, in order to meet the demands of the new technology? Anyone? Brenda, do you want to talk a little bit about Celanese?
Sure. I guess I'll step back and say, when you say getting people to embrace and adapt to the demands of the new technology, all of these things that we put out there, they're just gadgets and gizmos unless people really embrace it and start to use it. And we found in our journey that having a KPI that says when people start to tell our story, and it's not the digital team, it's not the IT team, it's not the folks that you know are deploying it, then we're successful, and we can get people to embrace not just the thing we're putting out there, but the advancements that come, because they actually see the difference in how it makes their jobs easier, more fun. It being on that creative side of work every day makes it fun to come to work. And so I'll say we have a board meeting tomorrow in one of our flagship facilities here in Houston, and we are doing some tours of some new units that we have started up and the plant in general, but we wanted to showcase digital. Part of the task was show how you've gone on this journey the last couple of years. And we talked about this, and we said the best thing we can do is just let people do the tour, talk about what they are doing, and let our board see how digital has changed this reality. And so that's what we will do tomorrow. And it's amazing to step back and see from 2 years ago when we started this journey, how people would have done this tour and described their everyday life and what they do and why it's spun, and how they're doing that now. They're stepping up to screens, they're stepping up to touch screens, they're touching things, they're showing people how they go through maintenance work orders every day, how they're planning their work, how they're making meaning of the operations, how they've changed some of these things that Girish had on the screen about cutting unplanned downtime in half, and seeing problems coming that have changed the way that we're performing. In the way that they're talking about that and the way they're showing our performance gains, it's all underpinned by digital, and it's apparent in the story. And so getting people to embrace the tools that we're giving them is about us allowing them to be part of the process, us putting the tools out there in a way that are human-centric to their roles, but having them tell us that they're making their lives different, and then being able to see that in how they're operating every day. Kind of a long answer, but...
No, it's really great. And so the individuals need to embrace this. And I guess also a big part of being able to really leverage this technology is to get collaboration going as well, whether within the companies, between companies, within, I mean, I know, Noriko, you and I talked the other day about how incredibly important collaboration is in technology for Japan as a country. Do you want to tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, let me step back a couple of miles away. It's just think about it, the environment of our business to drive. In Japan, we have two society challenges at this point. One is aging society. Our country is one of the rapidly aging countries. And then problem is, think about it, all of the skilled engineers on the field, we cannot hire on time, and then there's a big shortage on it. How are we gonna work, keep it safe, and then keep producing what we're supposed to do as our lifeline? So without this AI and technology development and then usage, and we're not gonna be able to maintain the business as we're supposed to do. Other things in Japan is, you may know already, we are on the island, and then we are really monoculture country, especially in language. Everyone speaks Japanese, but everyone's speaking only Japanese. So it's just more to be a predominantly monolinguistic culture, which is great. Most of the people knows what people thinking about. But what if we don't have enough human resources? We need to hire someone from outside. And what if we want to change the work style? You want to work remotely? We do need AI to support us and moving forward.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess when I think about what you're doing, William, as well, I mean, you're kind of on an island too, right? There's not that many people in the green energies yet. How is collaboration going in that space?
Well, I'd just like to say how much I like the KPI about telling the stories. I think I will be stealing that one. I think it's a great idea. We use use cases. Nothing gets done if there isn't a use case to support it. It's a very agile. We took a lot of it from software on the ability to collaborate within our team. And it's one of the things we like most about Cognite is their ways of work, the culture and the way they engage with us in the same way. Showcasing something every week, making somebody understand what it is you've been doing. You foster an innovative and creative culture by doing so. And you also have the ability to stop doing things that maybe don't have the value that you thought they would on paper. In our industry as a whole, there is nowhere near enough collaboration. It's very difficult. And I think we digital people need to take quite a lot of the blame for this. We've been telling people for years that their data is it's the new oil, I think it was at one point. It's the new something that's worth a lot of money. And the consequence of that is that they're locking it down. They think it's put in the vault. It's like gold. It has no value unless you use it. It's not the new oil. Well, to a degree, it's a better analogy than gold. But it is not the new anything. It is an entirely different paradigm. Needs to be used at the right time. You need to take risks with the sharing of it. So, and my industry is characterized by very fierce protection of intellectual property, IP, both on the process and the product. And we have a long way to go to get better at sharing data, collaborating, and only when we do that are we going to accelerate the sort of products that we know are out there that are going to really revolutionize.
We need to foster this type of collaboration.
Absolutely.
Now, we are almost out of time, panel, but I'd like to leave you guys with one more question, if I could get each of you to answer. This topic was really about how you're able to leverage the technology to actually have a more sustainable and efficient energy future. So in each of your companies, how are you actually getting that type of impact from this technology? Let's take it down the line. Brenda, you first.
Sure. I'll put a bit of a plug in and say something I'm very proud of in Celanese is we started up at the end of last year, one of the largest, and I think one of probably the few in the world, carbon capture and utilization. So not carbon capture and sequestration, but carbon capture and utilization facilities here at our facility in Clear Lake, Texas. So we're taking CO2 and waste CO2 and turning it into methanol in that facility, so green methanol. And one of the things that is most important to us in that facility and all of the facilities we operate is looking at the CO2 we generate, but also just our energy usage and optimization. So one of the things that we are doing is capturing all of this data and starting to not just be able to capture all of that to be able to get our energy bills right and capture the meter data and everything, but be on the proactive side of that and learn how to optimize our facilities. So we've developed an energy model that we are going to scale to all of our facilities where we're watching our energy usage in all forms and using that to get more proactive and thinking about how we optimize our facilities and run them differently during different times of the year, during different operational periods. And we have already seen just in the first few months of turning that on, things that just really surprised us. That we did not have insights out about before.
I guess that goes to energy savings to cost savings as well, which is good for
energy savings, cost savings. But when you think about it, so I'll mention we have a facility here locally that has just on the electricity side about 80 electrical meters within that facility. So we were more on the back end of just, I hate to admit it, but we had someone who walked around every month and wrote down those meter readings. Probably I see some of you shaking your heads because your facilities sometimes are in that same place that we were, but just writing those things down. So you were more on this, we call it rear view accounting. That's where we were. We were doing this more for the accounting side. And now we have smart meters that pick up this data, pull it in, show us what we're using. The accounting is an outcome, but we're able to look at this on a real-time basis daily and see what's happening in our facilities and start to point us with our AI technology, point us to places that we're not using energy efficiently. It's more that exception-based monitoring.
Great. Last couple of minutes, William.
Yeah, we see a future where there isn't a single part of our value chain that isn't going to be affected. Already we're seeing it in the material science. We look to semiconductor as an industry that's come further than we have, and probably we have a lot to learn from. There's a reason NVIDIA have done as well as they have, and some of the learning and technological advancements that they can produce using advanced models are because they've come so far and invested so much. So at the moment, it's materials is probably where the biggest difference is going to happen. The earliest, it's lithium ion now. The periodic table is much bigger than that. And we haven't got the time to experiment on every single combination. So we see the industry being transformed. And the future for me is probably next year, some of these things are going to start taking effect and having actual impact, certainly within 5.
Perfect. I see we are out of time. You're a good timekeeper for us, but I know there's a lot of good examples in Cosmo as well. Just give us one.
Okay, just one word. It's just like no matter what we do as an AI, as a catalyst, always there's a team members is necessary to support the business to transfer. And then Cosmo today, we have 14 members here. We always need to use the AI as a catalyst. We need a passion and we need to commit, right? And then actually great change management is necessary. So let's move forward with AI. That's what I want to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists.